The 14,000 children accused of witchcraft in the United Kingdom. A shocking 14,000 cases of children accused of witchcraft has surfaced in the United Kingdom over the past decade, shedding light on a hidden crisis of faith based abuse. The release of the film Kindoki Witch Boy, which tells the story of Mardoche Yembi, a Londoner falsely accused of witchcraft as a child, has reignited conversations about this dark reality. Quote, if a story like Kindoki Witch Boy had been out there when I was a child going through those experiences, I would have felt less alone, Yembi said, hoping that the film will encourage more victims to come forward. The tragedy of Victoria uh, Climbié, an 8-year-old girl who was tortured to death and killed in 2000 after being accused of witchcraft, remains a haunting reminder of the consequences of these beliefs. Accused children are often scapegoated for illness and financial misfortune, with some subjected to violent exorcisms and forced into isolation. Unlike Victoria, Yumby was rescued by social services and placed with the foster mother who helped him rebuild his life. Now an advocate for young care leavers, so like people that leave foster care in the UK, he dedicates his work to keeping Victoria's memory alive. Said part of this film is for her. She didn't have a chance to make it. I want to keep her name alive. So basically, there's this new film that has come out, and it's highlighting the problem that what is the time period for this statistic? Um, oh my god. Okay, since 2015, oh my god, I thought it was longer. Since 2015, social worker assessments have linked witchcraft accusations to the social work cases of 14,000 children in the UK. And in uh so in the year running to March 2024 alone, there were over 2,000 assessments linked to witchcraft accusations. So, um, I wanted to cover this because we have previously covered the work of activists like Nigerian atheist activist Leo Igwe, who is working very, very hard to help those accused of witchcraft in West Africa, mostly Nigeria. And this is a phenomenon that can take many forms, but the general idea is that there is a vulnerable person within a family unit who is typically a child with disabilities, a young person who is sick, or an elderly person who becomes scapegoated for the misfortunes of the larger family unit. So maybe there is someone in the family unit who is becoming sick and they have like a worsening health condition and they start having dreams that there is someone who is spiritually targeting them. And it is a phenomenon that this source of this maleficence, this spiritual warfare in a sense that is causing this illness or maybe all these bad events to happen, accidents, misfortunes, is a um evil and ill-intentioned member within the family unit, and this is often a very vulnerable person within the family, like an elderly children or disabled children. Sometimes it can take other forms, depending on the context. So, in this story in general, I'm talking about the context within Africa. To be clear, like witchcraft accusations actually occur across faith traditions. Um, but here I'm talking about in the African context. I mean, there are some instances where albino children are accused of like being witches. Their limbs are sometimes literally harvested for fetishistic rituals. Um, which is like, look, if I don't actually want people like the amputations that go on with the albino kids is like freaking horrific. Um, and so basically, this is a phenomenon that I was doing some research into this generally. yesterday, and this is a phenomenon that has exploded apparently since the early 2000s. And people believe that this is partially due to the influence of migration and industrialization. And um because of immigration patterns, this has entered into the context of the UK. And so now organizations like the UK FGM Center include witchcraft accusation under their list of harmful practices that they work to fight. And this is a phenomenon that is like I very poorly understood by social service organizations because it is a phenomenon that is generally like so foreign to the British context. Um, and look, there are some cases that happened in the UK where there were literally just like torsos of like a 5, 6 year old boy that was found in the River Thames because he was ritually sacrificed. Um like it doesn't usually end in a ritualized child sacrifice, but that is something that happens. Um, like, child sacrifice is actually a problem that Uganda, like, actively deals with. Um, and it's more common for it to be a problem of a witchcraft accusation where children are then sometimes physically abused in the context of an exorcism kind of ceremony. They experience a high degree of emotional abuse. They are told that they are evil, that um so for example, one of the guys who's profiled in this movie that they made to highlight this problem was essentially brought I think from the Congo. He was illegally brought from the Congo to England and then was living
And
here
these are all
living
Christian. Just
yeah,
to clarify, these are all Christians.
mostly in this context.
Okay.
Not
Hmm.
always. I mean, because we do have the
Okay.
problem of like Islamic exorcisms.
Yes, yes. But in
Um,
but this story is focused on the Christian part of it, right? But
yeah, and a
yes,
lot of this
there is a. Mm.
evolved out of African Pentecostal practice, like the African Pentecostalism kind of merging with elements of more indigenous or local beliefs.
Mhm.
Um, in other countries like Ethiopia, instances of this similar kind of abuse is more solidly, like purely more indigenous belief based.
This is why
Um,
some people are saying, you know what, forget not bringing like some people in the UK are react to stories like this, like they're by saying, okay, don't bring migrants from any of these, third world countries. Like I don't care if they're Islamic or non-Islamic, shut the whole thing down. I'm just saying what people's reactions are when they see stuff like this. They're like, okay, close all of it. But yeah, go on.
yeah, I mean it's tough because I mean that's not gonna I mean regardless, the problem that is already present needs to be addressed. And
Mm.
social workers need to know how to identify it, detect it, and prevent it. Um, so what happened to this boy that's highlighted in this movie is basically when he was a child, his mom died, and then he was brought to the UK illegally and being raised by an aunt. And this aunt accused him of like being a bad
Mhm.
child that essentially killed his mom, and that she was
Yeah.
experiencing all these issues in her marriage. Her husband was an alcoholic, he was abusive, she was having health problems, and she came to believe that he was the source of this evil that was working against her. And so their local community of people from their faith background and national background would perform exorcisms on him. They would emotionally abuse him. They would tell everyone else not to work with him, not to don't play with him, don't like so it was just an extremely emotionally abusive environment. And over some time he only kind of got saved from the situation because the aunt came to the school one day and asked the principal, "Is it okay for him to go on leave? Because we need to take him back to the Congo and do a spiritual deliverance on him." Basically saying, "We need to take him back to the Congo and do an exorcism on him." And the principal or the teacher, whatever, was like, "Hold up, what?" And they alerted social services, and then they went down the social service pathway, and it took some time, but he ended up
So
getting taken
casual.
into permanent foster care. Um,
I
but
like how they requested this as if this was completely normal. Like, can we, like, hey, can we take this? Can we take some time off to do an exorcism?
I mean, but to be fair, like, I'm glad that they had the lack of awareness about how that would come across to the,
Right,
institution, because it was that lack of awareness that allowed them to intervene versus
right.
a lot of
Shows how
many
normal
people,
this is
like,
for
people who
them.
seek to perform FGM on young girls, often do so via vacation cutting, where they will remove girls from their, like, United States or the UK, take them back to their home country, and then perform this on them, but they know that that's, like, dangerous, or so they hide that from the authorities.
Okay, so because we have only 5 minutes,
Mm.
I wanted to tell you share my own experience with sorcery and stuff when I grew up. I don't know if I we have time for that because we also have 4 super chats. Let me know if we have time for that, or do you have more stuff to add, or should I
No, that's
go
basically
to?
it.
Okay, so um, you know, I just only realized that this is basically the same thing that we're talking about because we didn't call it sorcery, but now that the examples you gave, I'm like, oh shit, this is actually what I experienced when when I was a child. So, oh yeah, and now it's like connecting, like shit, that was sorcery accusation because I remember when my aunt got cancer, some people in our family blamed it on a specific person in our family who was known for doing, I mean, I call it sorcery now, but now it's clicking only now that that's what she was being accused of constantly. Now it's only I'm connecting the dots only right now in my brain, like, oh my god, that was a sorcery accusation. This woman was constantly seen as a sorcerer, that you should always be making sure that you do not talk about the good things that is happening in your life around her, shit like that, right? And
Yeah,
one
evil eye,
evidence that they
yeah.
had, the main reason why she was seen as the cause of the cancer is because when she was crying on the phone about her she getting cancer, she said this shouldn't have happened, and a lot of people, because of the uh, background she had, like she was known as somebody who does stuff like this, saw that as her saying that she's saying I did this, but it wasn't either meant for her, like I misfired, or it
Wow.
wasn't supposed, or that she was admitting that it wasn't supposed to get this bad, right? So that's what they thought, that she admitted to doing this based on when
Wow.
she was crying about it and talking. So I just wanted to say I saw some
Yeah.
stuff like this as a child growing up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It happens across many faith contexts, and it's really sad that this is oftentimes, weaponized against children who are developmentally or intellectually disabled,
Mhm.
because, like, their disability seen as proof of their demonic possession, so, like, this can happen with kids with Down syndrome, like, it's really sad. Um,
Right.
but I don't know, I think that this is an important thing to highlight, because I like to cover kind of the issue of harmful practice. Um,
Oh, let's read the comments really, really fast because we only have 3 minutes. I'm going to read them fast. I remain baffled by the use of falsely in the headline as if the Guardian was aware of some genuine cases. Okay. I think they have to put it in the title so that they are not spreading misinformation. So, yet another imported issue. See, that's what I was saying. Most of us realize that witchcraft is total bullshit, not so among the uneducated. So, this is the anti immigration attitude people have. Okay, we need to get to the super chats because we're going to run out of time. We're going to, so we have
yeah.
6 super chats. Susie, do you want to go through them really fast because we have 2 minutes?
Gaijin, Susie, have you seen the Scottish witch tartan? No, I have not. I'm gonna Google that.
Okay.
Or sent a super sticker. Thank you so much, Or. Um, Gaijin is saying Neza made 2 billion USD so far. Turn your religion into anime, not laws. You'll be so much happier. I don't know what this is, but I'm assuming from context that this is an anime. But I do, yeah, just make everything anime. Shami sent a super sticker. Thank you, Shami. Unicorn is saying thank you as always. Susanna and Armin, thank you for your
Thank
support, Unicorn. Um, would you Gaijin is saying, would y'all consider feng shui? Is that feng shui? Feng shui? Sorcery?
I consider
Um,
all religions sorcery. Okay, so
no, feng
yes.
shui is just like if I'm remember if he's referring correctly,
But
like just
we
organizing the
have one
room a
minute.
certain way. Okay.
Okay,
And
that's part of Tao. That is religion. But yes, let's continue.
okay. Carl gave a super chat just saying, "Thanks guys and good research." Thank you, Carl.
Thank you, thank you. And last thing, guys, other than making sure you like the stream and subscribing, stay hydrated. Do not fast during Ramadan. It's bad for you. Fasting that might be good is not dry fasting, is water fasting. Dry fasting is horrible for your health. Stay hydrated. Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube? Blasphemous art ever? We do. And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.